Get even more savings this holiday season by becoming a Milo's Rewards member. Don't miss new member deals dropping every week, like $15 off a purchase of $50 or more on select Bounty, Charmin, and Puffs paper products. Plus, get free standard shipping with Silver Key status. Just one more way Lowe's is here to help you shop, save, and enjoy the holidays. Join for free today. Milo's Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. Exclusions and more terms apply. Visit Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details.
Welcome to Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast. Hey, it's JD here, back for another week of carefully curating the content that you are listening to, which is in this case the chronological discography of Pavement, with the hopes that together we can discover some gems, we can learn some shit, and ultimately I get to meet Malcolmus. So there's that. This week we are in a transition phase, I suppose. We are covering Chesley's Little Wrists, and it comes from Slanted and Enchanted. If you're just tuning in, it's like the 7th track, and it's a real interstitial number. It's this is certainly a track that harkens back and makes you think about the EPs. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, check those out, where there were lots of like interstitial type tracks that would take you from one phase of the record to another. In the case of this record, we got 5 bangers out of the chute. Then we slowed things down with Zurich is Stained. And now we're getting ready to transition into, ultimately, I guess, side 2, for lack of a better word. I'm struggling today, folks. I'm struggling. I had a very potent edible yesterday, and my brain is still recovering from that. So I may be talking a little slower, and I apologize for that. Adjust your speed on your podcast player, and maybe you can make it sound like it normally does. Or maybe this is how I always sound. I don't know. So there's that. I got a great email this week that I want to share with you all. I love sharing these letters that I get. It's really quite wonderful. And I'm going to share 2 with you. One that's a little older and one that's a little newer. And they both revolve around Summer Babe. So this one comes from Todd Thurman. And he says, "Hey JD, I just listened to the Summer Babe winter version episode and was surprised that nobody weighed in on the lyrical meaning." Yeah, that's me. I've been really chimping out on that. I'm getting feedback from people that are like, hey man, we liked it when you took a stab. That's all right. You don't have to get it right, but just show some ass, JD, So this email continues. That wasn't part of the email. That was my editorializing. To me, that song conjures such a clear image of being home in Stockton for the summer. I lived in Sacto in my junior high years, so the image is based on my reality and just hanging out with friends. Ice Ice Baby was a big hit the summer before the song was recorded, and it's easy to imagine Steve calling one of his friends Ice Baby in a bored drawl. Summer Babe sounds like a dismissive term for the girl you date while you're home from school. That's good. Later verses ring of boredom and a sense of betrayal, like maybe he started to have real feelings for his Summer Babe, but she wasn't all that interested. Aw, poor Steve's heart is broken. And that's the email. So, yeah, I think that there's something to that. There's a lot of real clever imagery in the song, and but but the overall vibe does, feel maybe dismissive. And it would be cool if they were volleying that dismissiveness back and forth, from the man to the woman in this case. So cool. Thanks so much, Todd. I got an email just today while I was recording this, and it's from David Gilman, and he refers to Summer Babe as Summer Girl, but I'm positive he's talking about, well, for sure he's talking about Summer Babe because he says winter version, and he just had a brain fart or whatever. So I'll read it with the correction. I know you already got to Summer Babe twice, but was surprised to see that you hadn't read anything similar to my feelings on the song when doing research. For me, Summer Babe, winter version, is right at the beginning of the first LP, and Pavement, for me, really starts there. And the song really fits its role there. It is this grand, soaring song, and really worthy of its role as the beginning of Pavement's entire discography. I feel like you're standing at the top of a mountain pass, looking at the land roll out in front of you until it vanishes into the horizon. And then he goes on, and I'll save it for when we get to Wowie Zowie. I'll save the rest of the email. Well, actually, I'll read it now. And for when you get to Wowie Zowie, be sure to mention the Stereolab influence on Half a Canyon. I'm a huge fan of Stereolab. Both bands did tour together in the 90s, and for whatever reason, Steven wanted to write a Stereolab song, so he wrote half of one. It sounds like it's right off of Transient Random. And finally, I think you should trust your listeners will tell you if you're making a fool of yourself. Well, thank you. But I have some issues with negative self-talk, and, it's gonna act up or flare up every once in a while. So there's that. I will tell you that as far as this being, that very picturesque top of the mountain track looking out on the discography, I can't argue with that, with too much definitiveness, other than the fact that now, having really put some time into the EPs, I feel as though they're like the blueprints, or maybe they're the map to the top of the mountain, where you're introduced to Summer Babe as this new, sort of entity, and we go from there. That being said, a track like Chesley's Little Wrists harkens back to the EPs, and here we are in this cycle of paradox, if we take your definition at face value. So I'm not sure. I think it's a great song. If you want to introduce somebody to Pavement, I'm not going to go and play them Spizzle Drunk. I'm going to play Summer Babe, or I'm going to play Box Elder. So, there's that. At any rate, I really do appreciate the emails. I can't wait to be in a situation where we can meet face to face in Porto next year. And we should maybe think about that. Maybe arrange something at some point. Transport, perhaps. Let's talk more about Chesley's Little Wrists. I have no clue how that title relates to the lyric, I'm bogged down, or the musical content of this song. This song is like a freight train with the ringing bell coming through town. You hear that almost like a wedding toast glass, ding, 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 through the whole thing. It's not quite, it's more shrill than just the bell of a big cymbal. It's like a ding, ding, ding. And the lead guitar meanders between, the time that the bell rings. And I mean, the bell is present throughout. And it really can put you off balance and in an unusual place, especially coming from something as cut and dried as Zurich. So it's an interesting choice. Again, other than if you think about it as ushering in the rest of the content on this record, which that's where I think this is. That's what its job is. It's a amuse-bouche, we would say, in Quebec or France, referring to something that just is like an appetizer, something small, something that just amuses your mouth. In this case, it's amusing your brain, and it isn't meant to be taken too far in depth. In fact, I've probably talked about it enough. So let's listen to it. This is a shorty, under 1 minute and 20 seconds long. This is Chesley's Little Wrists on Meeting Malcolmus, a Pavement podcast. Meeting Malcolmus, a Pavement podcast, is a weekly affair. I'm social. Check me out at Meeting Malcolmus. And be a dear. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts.
Need parts now? O'ReillyAuto.com offers in-store pickup, same-day home delivery, or next-day home shipping. Get more parts your way at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oh, 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 O'Reilly.